Okay, students, we are going to go ahead and start Chapter 11. Keep in mind, we're going to be back in your diagnostic book, so the CM textbook, and we're going to start with Z codes and external cause of morbidity codes. So this chapter is a little bit shorter. So let's just kind of go what you should know for this unit. A couple of different things is external causes, which are going to be the V codes through the Y codes. We have factors influencing the health status and contact with health services. So these are going to be our Z codes. You will utilize Z codes a lot throughout every chapter. So that's kind of why it's important we start off with these chapters. So in certain situations, Z codes can be assigned as principal diagnosis. Different things is like if somebody's being admitted for chemotherapy, if we have the birth status of a newborn, the Z code is going to be principal diagnosis. So just take a couple of notes. It's actually in your book when we go over these different scenarios that when you do need it as principal diagnosis. So your external cause codes, they're assigned as additional codes, okay? And we'll get more into these when we start hitting the chapters for injury. So crazy as it seems, they want to know exactly how that accident happened. So if somebody fell out of a hot air balloon, there's a Y code for that, okay, stating that's the accident. They want to know where it happened, if it was suicide, assault. Everything needs to, again, be documented because this is where you get your statistics from. And also, where did this event happen? Where did it occur? And at the time, what was the patient doing? Were they a civilian? Were they in military? Were they getting paid for it? Okay, so again, there's no national requirement for mandatory reporting unless the provider is subject to a state-based external cause reporting mandate. Reporting sometimes is required by a particular payer, so it just kind of depends what Blue Cross Blue Shield says, Medicare says. Usually with Medicare, we don't have to do these external cause codes. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's give you a little background on how to locate these Z codes in your Alpha Index. So you are going to look under the main term, possibly admission, examination, history, observation, aftercare, problem, or status. When you look these up, there's a few different things that I would like to just talk about with history. With history, when a patient, it's either going to be family history or personal history. The first part is going to be make sure you distinguish between the two because they kind of run in together, especially when we get into neoplasms. Both sections, if it's a personal history of a neoplasm or a family history of a neoplasm, both of these sections are very long, so make sure you're in the right history section when you are looking up a code. Okay, so Z codes, this is what I was talking about, principal diagnosis. A person with resolving disease, chronic condition is seen for specific aftercare. Patient is seen for the sole purpose of special therapy. So again, chemotherapy, radiation, they're admitted just for that. That a person not currently ill is encountering the health service for a specific reason. And again, the birth status of a newborn. Okay, when do we have additional codes for Z codes? Just as I was stating with the personal history of a malignant neoplasm, family history, the outcome of delivery for obstetric patients. Okay, so when we're talking about this, did the mother have twins? If she had twins, were they both living? Did one come out stillborn? Okay, so there's different Z codes that go through all of that. There's aftercare visits. This could be anybody coming in for aftercare for, if they had a fracture and they're coming in just to be seen for aftercare to make sure everything's healing. You're going to put a Z code on that admission. Palliative care, this would be for, again, comfort care, hospice care, anything for the terminally ill. So this code can be used in any healthcare setting. It does not just have to be inpatient, physician office, It can be home care, whatever the patient is seeking. Injury aftercare, I kind of talked about that. The only big coding thing on this is your 7th character. Okay, so that means yes, we will have 7 characters, but make sure you look, again, whatever category you are in, you look at the beginning of that category and look in that box for the D, G, K, or P for the fractures. We need to know, again, we need to get as specific as we possibly can. Okay, sequencing of aftercare codes. Usually you're going to put these towards the end. Okay, they're not going to be principal diagnosis. Sometimes when aftercares are generally listed first, they want to explain the specific reason for the encounter. So again, depending on the situation, whether it's first or if it's going to come later on in your sequence, we'll go over those specific rules. Okay, and then you're going to have complications. We're going to have admission for follow-up exams, observation and eval. So again, these are just different. The one thing, these PowerPoints, they're very specific and the information is directly coming from the textbook. So I basically tell students to read through this information versus me reading every single slide to you. So let's go ahead. I kind of want to go towards the end here and let's go through a problem. So with the ending problems here, which would be exercise 11.1. Just a couple of different things here. So number 1, I have visit to change surgical dressing. So let's go ahead. I'm going to pull up my code book. Okay, and what you're going to look for is the word visit. And the thing is, it's probably going to take you different areas. So we do have visit. And there isn't anything with visit, okay? So let's go and try a different route. So we have visit to change surgical dressing. Let's go to change. Okay, so here I have change. So again, if you need to pause the tape, get to your alpha. So go to change in your alphabet in the first part of the books, the alpha. Okay, and right here we have dressing and then surgical. So it's going to be Z48.01. So there you have the answer for the first one. So a couple of different things. When you look through these problems 1 through 12, number 2, you're going to probably go under history, okay, versus family. You're going to look for the main word. So number 3, you're going to look for status post. Okay, a lot of times it's going to take you here, take you there, tell you to go see somewhere else. Okay, so you got to keep that in mind. You got to, same thing with number 5. You're going to start with adjustment. This one can be a little tricky. So if anybody has any questions over this chapter, make sure you send me an email.